What is up, everybody? Zach Graham coming to you for FTN Daily, jumping into week 13 of the NFL regular season and talking SuperDraft, where we're dealing with multipliers instead of your typical salary cap structure. If you've never played on SuperDraft before, you can go to ftndaily.com, check out our comprehensive site review, and then go to superdraft.io. You get registered and sign up. You use the promo code FTN. And if you deposit $100 or more, SuperDraft is going to give you $100 in bonus funds to start your super draft journey and start winning. So without further ado, let's jump into some of the multiplier plays here for week 13. As always, we're starting at quarterback, and I'm looking at two guys here. Lamar Jackson being the first. He's sitting at 1.15x. Obviously a down week against the Browns on Sunday Night Football this past weekend. 4 interceptions for the former MVP, but big matchup against Pittsburgh here, who's been hurting, especially on the defensive side of the ball lately. So I don't think it's as tough of a matchup as it's been for Lamar in the past. No rushing touchdowns for him since week 2. I think he's overdue to get into the end zone. We know he brings that high baseline with the rushing ability. And then Matthew Stafford, 1.2x, another guy coming off a down performance. Some reports that he's been beat up, sore in a lot of places, but no better remedy for that, especially for Matthew Stafford and his track record historically than a matchup with the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's got great success in his career against bad teams. I think this is a perfect bounce back spot for Stafford and the Rams' high-powered offense. Looking at running back now, Jonathan Taylor sitting at the floor, 1x multiplier, but he gets a matchup with the Houston Texans. The Texans 25th in the league in terms of fantasy points given up to running backs. So that's something we like to see at the running back position. That combined with Nyheim Hines being phased out of this offense over the last couple weeks, and Jonathan Taylor just absolutely smashing a couple weeks ago, and that floor is just about as high as anybody else in the NFL at the running back position right now. So I'm fine rostering JT at that floor multiplier. But then my guy Antonio Gibson out there for the Washington football team, big time Monday Night Football performance, probably swung some season-long leagues, sitting at 1.4x. He gets an even better matchup against the Raiders and their 28th ranked, or their 28th ranking in terms of fantasy points given up to the running back position. Again, massive usage on Monday Night Football. And now J.D. McKissic, at the time of this recording, hasn't been decided, I think, whether or not he's going to be out yet. But based on how he exited that game on Monday, I would expect McKissic to be out. So maybe some Jarrett Patterson getting in there as well. But I think Antonio Gibson in line for another huge week for the football team. Moving on up to the wide receiver position, and I'm recommending a pair of Jeffersons this week, starting with Justin Jefferson for the Vikings, 1.15x. Gets a matchup against Detroit. The Vikings only 7-point favorites against the winless Detroit Lions. Justin Jefferson in 2 of his last 3 games, double-digit receptions. We know he's a huge deep threat. So with that little 15% extra bonus onto his fantasy points this week, I like taking shots on Justin Jefferson in the Detroit matchup. And then the second Jefferson being Van Jefferson, you can stack him with Matthew Stafford, almost 8 targets a week over his last 3. Robert Woods obviously out for this Rams team now. I like stacking him with Matthew Stafford, getting those double points if they can connect on a long touchdown or maybe 2. And we'll finish up, as always, with the tight end position. I like stacking Mark Andrews, 1.05x this week. Stack him with Lamar. Again, matchup with Pittsburgh, not scaring anybody at this point. And over his last 7 games, Mark Andrews, near 10 targets per week. So if you're going to go low at tight end, I love Mark Andrews. And then I've recommended my guy, Pat Freiermuth. You see the Steelers jersey behind me. Big Steeler fan, big Pat Freiermuth fan, but he is in the concussion protocol. So if he plays, I like him at 1.6x. But now I'm looking at Foster Moreau. With Darren Waller out for the Raiders this week, Foster Moreau is at 1.75x, 6 for 60 and a touchdown against the Eagles back in late October during the week that Darren Waller missed. So maybe not quite so perfect of a game, caught all 6 of his targets in that one. But with that big multiplier, we know Derek Carr likes to target his tight end in the end zone. So Foster Moreau, a great tournament play, in my opinion, at 1.75x. That's going to do it for me this week. Make sure you tune in to all the SuperDraft-oriented content here at FTN Daily. It's always free, be it NFL, NBA, or any other sport, all SuperDraft-oriented content, free each and every week on FTNDaily.com. And it all culminates Sunday mornings, 11 a.m. Eastern, the SuperDraft Sunday Study. Myself, Vlad Sedler, Javi Perlezzo, two of the sharpest SuperDraft minds in the industry. Sometimes we have some other guests on as well. Joe Metz, a great guest appearance last week, making some good calls on the Sunday Study. So I hope to see you there, 11 a.m. Eastern, a free stream on the FTN Network, free half hour talking the SuperDraft main slate. And as always, good luck this week in your contest.